from the book of Numbers. I'm going to go from chapter 20, start with verse 2, and read on through verse 13. And there was no water for the congregation, and they gathered themselves together against Moses and against. Actually, let me start with verse 1. Then came the children of Israel, even the whole congregation, to the desert of Zin in the first month, and the people abode in Kadesh, and Miriam died there and was buried there. And there was no water for the congregation, and they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron. And the people chode with Moses and spoke, saying, "With God that we had died when our brethren died before the Lord? And why have ye brought up the congregation of the Lord into this wilderness that we and our cattle should die there? And therefore have ye made us to come up out of Egypt to bring us into this evil place? It is no place of seed, or of figs, or of vines, or of pomegranates, neither is there any water to drink." And Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and they fell upon their faces, and the glory of the Lord appeared unto them. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, "Take the rod, and gather thou the assembly together, thou and Aaron thy brother, and speak ye into the rock before their eyes, and it shall give forth this water, and thou shalt bring forth to them water out of the rock. So, so thou shalt give the congregation and their beasts drink." And Moses took the rod from before the Lord as he commanded him. And Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock, and he said unto them, "Hear now, ye rebels, must ye fetch you water out of this rock?" And Moses lifted up his hand, and with his rod he smote the rock twice, and the water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and their beasts also. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, "Because ye believe me not to be sanctified, or believe me not to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore ye shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them. This is the water of Meribah, because the children of Israel strove with the Lord, and he was sanctified in them." So I call this one emotions, because we see here how our emotions can get the better of us. Sorry, putting things up, get the better of us. So the people are thirsty, and once again, they're complaining to Moses, and they're in they have approached, entered to a desert named Zin, Zin. And as before, they fought with Aaron and Moses, asking him, "Did you bring us out here just to die, you know, from Egypt and all that stuff?" And they just talked about how desolate where it is that they are. No food, no water. And so Aaron and Moses went to tabernacle to pray to God. And God, appears to Moses and told Moses, what to do so the people could have water. So Moses and Aaron do good up to the point of getting, Moses taking his staff, and Aaron and him getting the people to the rock that the water is supposed to come forth. But this is where Moses's emotions get the better of him. Instead of just holding the rod up over the rock and speaking over it like God commanded him, he allowed his anger to get the better of him, and he yelled at the congregation, ye rebels, because they were fighting against him and against his brother Aaron. And so, imagine in his mind, he sees it as them fighting against God. And so he called them rebels because they have been contending with him, Aaron, and in their mind, God as well. And so instead of speaking over the rock, he decides to strike the rock twice with his staff. Now, God, loving his congregation and not wanting them to die, of course, allows the water to come out of that rock abundantly. But because Moses let his anger get the best of him and didn't do what God told him, which would allow the people to see the true glory of God in this. And Aaron didn't stop him. Aaron just stood by and watched Moses lose control. And so Aaron was, I don't know if you could say lack of emotion. Um, was it apathy? Is the word? But whatever. Aaron took no action, did not try to correct Moses, did not try to prevent Moses from doing what he did. And because of that, the Lord still blessed the people with the water that they needed. But because of that, God revoked the blessing and the privilege of Moses and Aaron taking the people into the promised land. Um, that they were meant to do. So I look at it as our emotions, if we're not careful, can cause us to do something, to cause us to lose a blessing. Remember, blessings can be given and taken away. Now, salvation, it can't be taken away. You don't do anything to deserve it. You know, salvation is a gift. It's not a blessing, it's a gift. And once you receive the gift of salvation, you can't lose it. Now, you can live miserably for the rest of your life because you're continually fighting and disobeying God. Um, and the part of being miserable is because you're being convicted of everything that you're doing because you know it's wrong. Um, the difference between somebody who's truly saved and who's not truly saved. Somebody who's not truly saved, they're going to do what they're going to do, and it's not going to affect their emotions one way or another. They're not going to feel bad. I'm kind of getting off track here. Um, but yeah, because we let our emotions get the better of us, sometimes we can actually lose a blessing that was meant for us to have. Um, God promised the Israelites to get them to the promised land, but their emotions of fear back when they were at the boundary the first time caused that generation to lose their blessing of getting into the promised land, with the exception of two people, Joshua and Caleb. And Joshua ended up leading the people into the promised land, the following generation, with Caleb being his right hand man, because they didn't let their emotions take over. They fully trusted in God and knew that God would give them the land if they would just take it. whereas the people as a whole of the Israelites allowed their fear to control their belief, or in this case, their disbelief of the Lord being able to do as he promised. Moses, he let his anger get the better of him, and his anger was towards the Israelites for one rebelling against him and Aaron and for rebelling against God. But the trouble with that is, instead of doing what God told him to do, which was just to speak over the rock, he violently struck the rock twice with his rod. And that's the disobedience there. He wasn't to hit the rock, he was just to speak over it. Um, and then Aaron, for my understanding, gathering, you don't see him doing anything. So Aaron's apathetic emotion or lack thereof didn't spur him to prevent Moses from losing control. Aaron, as the religious leader of the people, did not put Moses in check when his anger was getting the best of him. And because of that, they were revoked the blessing of taking the people to the promised land. I mean, the day and age, how many blessings have we maybe missed out on because we let our anger, our sadness, our fear get the better of us to where we decided to do things our own way instead of trusting in the Lord and doing the things and doing it in such a way that He told us to do. I mean, Moses was a very mighty man of God, but his emotions still cost him his blessing. Um, and you can go with other examples of that happening. King David, his emotion of lust over Bathsheba, caused caused the blessing caused his blessing of having a peaceful life to the end of his days to be forfeited. He had continual family strife. He lost the very first child that Bathsheba and David had, died. Um, so yeah, so our emotions can cause great anguish and great opportunities of great blessings missed. Um, and it just kind of makes me wonder, how often do I do that? How often do I miss a blessing because I let my emotions just take over and completely ignore what God told me to do? It's kind of a sobering thought when you look into that and realize even the very mighty men of God from the Old Testament had their issues and where they lost blessings due to rash decisions or actions that led to disobedience. Something to think about. Anyways, I love you guys. You have a blessed day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.